I was thinking about hypervigilance today, particularly after someone I know saw me and clearly deliberately avoided me, and I was sad, but not everybody likes me because I'm not well. But more often than not, I'm scanning my environment, scanning intersections, picking up on body language. A lot of times I don't want my back turned to people or certain situations. Sometimes I think I'm better than other times. But if I'm feeling a little more uptight or on edge, I notice that I do make sure I don't have my back turned to people whom I do not know, or on a bus or a train like the SkyTrain back at home or the LRT here. I will sometimes sit in front of somebody, but more often than not, I prefer to stand or sit in the seats where the back is facing the wall. Everybody's different, and I do not display all the traits that I'm showing in these pictures, but I know it is a combination of my abusive upbringing, my time in foster care and then living on my own at a young age, and my time in the military, not necessarily always due to training, but there have been a lot of bad environments there too. But I found these about abused kids, and yes, I absolutely do scan for emotional danger, and I noticed tone shifting everywhere, body language, everything. I think the worst of it was when I was living on my own at a young age. It is definitely an unusual situation for somebody of that age, so I will lead up to that. But here, I often wonder if I do pick up on things that some people don't. By no means am I saying I'm better or smarter, just that I am, I guess, hypervigilant. I'll eventually discuss more about my childhood in the upcoming Doormat Chronicles, which I am working on. I already did one episode. I used to be very ashamed of my past. I am learning to get over that. When I went into foster care, I was in some awful homes. I first went to an emergency group home. I went to a couple foster homes. The first one I was 12 and I was being molested there by the foster mother's adult son, 19 years old, in the basement. He had a bedroom in the basement. I might have been 13. I did turn 13 there, so regardless, it doesn't matter. But in my foster care documents that I ordered, this was from September 18th, 1989, and my birthday was in November, turning 13. It shows here ages 11, 19. Those are the ages of her two children. 19 is an adult. I have no idea if they searched his background or anything. And then I went to another foster home where we were treated like fucking crap. We were kept for money. It was awful, and I was running away from both places. And then I went to group homes, and I started running away from them too, particularly because some of the teenagers in them were involved in crime, and it was kind of scary. However, I moved out on my own with a guy from the group homes. He was abusive. Go figure. I was raised to accept that by a very cruel father who actually said it was my fault for going to foster care. He said that I jumped out of the second floor window because I was a prostitute when I was 11. I was actually scared of my mother. Anyway, back to living on my own at a young age. I was about 15, and my boyfriend was a bit older than me. I moved in with him in a basement suite, and he had a roommate. That roommate turned it into a flop house, and it looked like the criminal activity followed me. I just couldn't get away from it, but thankfully I didn't get involved in it. But here I am outside of the flop house. I was just being silly here. But on that day, I had a particular photo taken, I guess I must have thrown it out, with someone named Chris Weldon. We were not friends, he was just friends of the roommate, and I knew him from the group homes. One day I was in that basement suite, the flop house. He had returned there with some of his friends, and he said he had just did this to someone. I guess I can't say certain things on social media now. He was in a bit of a panic, kind of in shock. Adrenaline was going. I remember quite well because I was scared. He kept saying that, as well as that he had just did this to someone. I used to have the newspaper clippings, however, I must have thrown them out. I have done that with things that leave me bad memories, but I managed to find some archives online. I hope you can see this okay on TikTok. Just pause it to read. These articles are kind of jumbled up with other things like vacation stuff, and the text doesn't make sense. I think they want me to pay for a subscription to look at more. Chris Weldon's name is misspelled here, but later you'll see that it's spelled properly. But it was a drive-by shooting. I have to use these words. How can I avoid them? But a boy named Aaron Amanek was killed. So these are children killing children. And I'm in no way defending Chris Weldon. However, he was from the group homes and he was abused as a child. This is a pattern. Many of these people age out with no skills. They end up on the streets and involved in crime. I was friends with a woman whom I named the mega C word. I was in friendships, for lack of a better term, where even women were very abusive to me. And this mega C word, MC I call her, just a C word alone doesn't do her justice. She said to me once, not something really nice like, despite your past, I'm really happy for you that you did well. No. She said to me, because of your upbringing and your past, I'm surprised you're not on Hastings Street with a needle hanging out of your arm. And I stayed friends with this stupid fucking bitch for a long time. She was mean to me, and I would pick her up with a coffee and haul her fucking ass around, and she would treat me like shit. She had 3 vehicles. Her husband had one, she had her own, and then they shared a vehicle for her business. However, why should she drive when other people can do it for her? Her husband drives her everywhere. I was driving her everywhere. I was serving this stupid bitch while she was mean to me. It's part of my people pleasing, but I'm getting much better at picking up on it and removing myself. I was also recently friends with a younger woman. She said she would help my dogs in the event of my death, so I put her on my will. She'd get a paid off house with the insurance and my locked in savings after all is paid off, which still gives her money and a mortgage free home. And she still wanted me to fucking decorate my house to her liking to prepare for my death. These are the types of people I would surround myself with. Anyway, I digress. Let's go back to Chris Weldon and Aaron Aaron Amonick. So Chris Weldon shot Aaron Amonick from a car that a woman named Jen the War Pig was driving. This might sound ridiculous. However, she was a bully who would literally beat the shit out of people. She was known to be in youth detention center, I guess. And she would hang out in the flop house a lot. She was very intimidating. However, my only defense mechanism to her was I just pretended that she didn't scare me, although I was terrified. Somehow it worked and she was nice to me. I just made sure I didn't act nervous and I just spoke with her like I did with anybody else. Anyway, it's still hard to wrap my head around that I was exposed to all of this. I had a lot of firearms in that house and they were stored unsafely. Of course, at the time, I didn't understand those things. I'm thankful that I was never hurt. I tried to keep to myself and stay in the bedroom a lot. And when I had food to eat, I would cook it and then go back to the bedroom. That was where I discovered that toast with margarine and mustard was really good. That was a staple for me. But then the next day, another kid, Jason Ashton, found Chris Weldon at a party, I guess. There was an altercation and Chris Weldon was shot. He died at the age of 18. So these are kids killing kids. I guess this is Aaron Amonick. What a tragedy. He'd probably be in his early 50s now.